Right. Let's also now focus in on SBI. Lots to discuss there, of course. We've got, the outlook on banking, re-rating, utilization of funds, and the road to recovery. A whole host of things that we'd like to discuss with Mr. Khara this morning. Thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Khara. And we'd like to first sort of talk to you a little bit about what you're intending to do with the proceeds from SR. We're looking at about 13,000 crores, of course, and then the SBI Cards IPO, which is a 9,000 crore rupee IPO. So with all of that fund infusion coming in, we've got a total of close to 23,000 crores that will be available. What are the plans for that?
First of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. Well, as far as the recovery from SR is concerned, and also the monetization of our investment in part of our stake in SBI credit card. Well, of course, these are part of the long-term plans, and of course, the recovery proceeds which we will get from SR, it is actually we have already provided for 100% for this particular asset, and naturally it will be in a position to write back those provisions, and it will be available for the bottom line of the bank. And and as far as the monetization of our investment in SBI card is concerned, even there also we'll have some capital gains coming through. So all said and done, we being a going concern, and we have got the growth ambitions in mind. So naturally all this money will be available for deployment for the growth options available for the bank, and also for the further lending which we intend to, the stronger lending which we will have over the years coming forward.
Sure. Mr. Khara, so wanted to understand how much money will you bag in from SR, and how much more by way of recoveries can investors price into SBI this year, now that there has been a nudge within the system for quicker resolutions?
We expect somewhere around 12,000 crore plus to be recovered in case of SR. And well, as far as the other resolutions are concerned, we are quite hopeful. Actually, the SR judgment has, if I can say so, has very clearly laid out the jurisprudence for the insolvency law in the country. And to that extent, many more such cases which are pending before the insolvency courts will get resolved, and perhaps all these cases which have been referred to IBBI for quite some time, they will get to see the faster resolution.
Takes me to the other unresolved case, which is DHFL. Where exactly do things stand as of now, and what are the latest developments?
Well, as far as DHFL is concerned, now of course the recent enactment which has come through, by which the regulators can, at the instruction of the regulators, the systemically important NBFCs can be referred to the insolvency process. So it is known to all that the administrator has been appointed by RBI very recently, and naturally it will also go through a similar process for resolution of the impaired assets, and it will go through the NCLT process now.
How is demand looking at the moment, Mr. Khara? What are you picking up from corporates? Has there been any movement really in the overall scenario?
Well, I would like to say that, in the first 10 quarters, 10 fortnights, we had witnessed a growth in the banking system of about 35,000 crore. Whereas in the last 5 fortnights, from September beginning till the early part of October, we have seen a significant growth in the credit offtake from the system. It was more than 1,50,000 crore. So that is a very clear reflection that, of course, when we started the year, we were not witnessing a strong credit demand. But yes, of course, in the recent past, we have got to see some better credit demand. So I would say that these are the green shoots which we have seen in the recent past. So we feel that going forward, there would be some further growth in credit which would be witnessed. This is what I feel.
What about retail as a segment, Mr. Khara? Is there still stress in there?
Retail assets, we don't see much of a stress. Rather, we have actually seen very decent growth in the retail assets in the recent past. And I would say that our retail engine is doing very well. And we have witnessed a consistent growth in the retail assets.
SBI been receiving any proposals for large private or listed capex? Are we seeing any movement there?
I would say that it is a process, and naturally when the capacity utilization improves, then there is a possibility of the corporates taking a call for the fresh investments. So maybe the recent green shoots which we are seeing, maybe it will encourage maybe the corporates also to come forward with their proposals.
Okay.
Mr. Khara, there's a lot of excitement in the markets ever since the Essar Steel verdict because, now that one decisive mandate has gone in favor of the lenders, people believe that, other such decisions as well will go and follow through in that direction as well. And which is why I guess one has seen that massive move in the stock prices of some of the PSU banks as well. But do you feel that PSUs will continue to remain in focus on account of recoveries? Or would you say that there are other triggers as well, which is why perhaps the excitement in the stock markets?
No, well, of course, the fact of the matter is that practically all the PSUs which had exposure in Essar Steel, they had provided for that particular asset. So now the other aspect is that since there is a very clear-cut jurisprudence which is available for the insolvency law, so it has actually brought the confidence into the system back. And perhaps that is the reason why we get to see a better traction as far as the PSU stocks are concerned.
Right.
Also, any of trends that you can take us through with regards to SMEs as well, what you're seeing there, what you're really witnessing on ground?
Well, of course, SME is something which is engaging the attention of practically all the public sector lenders. And of course, we are quite mindful that perhaps there is a room for improvement in the processes. For instance, that we do acknowledge that maybe balance sheet financing may not be the only way for supporting SME. We are also looking at financing them based on the cash flow basis. We are also actually evaluating that if at all we can use some of the data which is available in the ecosystem, maybe through the GST returns, etc. Maybe if we can use them and can make the SME lending easier. So all that process is on, and I think going forward we'll have much faster delivery for the SME also, though we have seen significant improvement in the recent past, but I think there is a room for further improvement, which we are already making efforts to make the credit available to SMEs at the earliest.
Mr. Khara, if I look at what has happened to the real estate sector, the problems are not getting sorted out. And now real estate interplays are getting hit. Zee lost because of its exposure to real estate and infra. Karvy, the problem is largely originated because they took out money and invested in real estate sector. So do you think till the time real estate prices in India do not stabilize or demand does not come back, we will keep on seeing these periodic problems? They may not be large, but they will continue to linger and continue to drag the system down?
I think if you really look at it, the kind of structural reforms which have been brought into the real estate sector, particularly RERA, so these are the kind of things which are essentially meant for building up the confidence of the ultimate buyer in the real estate sector. So I think that and the other aspect which is relating to some of the unfinished projects, and for that the government had recently announced a real estate fund also. So I think with the help of that fund, at least those projects which are in the last, which are awaiting last mile funding and are actually stuck for the last mile funding. So those projects will get the support, and they will ease out the pain in the system. So I think it is going to be a process. The problem has got compounded over a period of time, and it will get eased out also with the passage of time. So I think some right steps are being taken, which will eventually help in resolving the pain in this sector also.
Where is good news for the banking sector? Where do you think we are in for an incremental change, and 2020 will be dramatically better than 2019 and 2018 and 2019?
See, if you look at the provision coverage ratio of the banks, it has improved significantly. So I think for the system as a whole, the provision coverage ratio is more than 70%. And if you look at the cases which have been settled in the NCLT, there the average recovery is about 43%, which means that the LGD for the system is at about 57%, and whereas the provision coverage ratio for the banking system is at about 70% plus. So I think to that extent, when it comes to providing for the impaired assets, that is all, it's all behind us. And I would say that this augurs very well for the banking system, and going forward it is a very clear reflection that the banking system is strong enough to face the economic challenges of the ecosystem. And I think banks will be in position to support the growth in the economy to a very greater extent.
Mr. Khara, thanks so much for joining us this morning and talking us through some of the latest developments there.